Looks like you've been missing a lot of work lately.
I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob.
What would you say you do here?
God damn it. Bob, we love playing here tonight. My brother's ready.
It helps if you think of it as a game, Bob. Every game has a winner, a loser.
You must possess strength to inflict pain, Bob.
This is TwoBobsCast. We are here for episode 42, season 2, rolling along, A to Z Rock and Metal Podcast. Your boys, Herd, and my man, Mr. H, are in the house. What's going on, Mr. H? How are you doing?
In the house! I'm doing great, man. I'm excited to talk about this band. So lots of good stuff, man.
Yes. Good stuff here. We are in the Bees for the second time. Like I said, season 2. So going around the bed number 2, and this one going around the bed number 2. The Welsh band Bullet for My Valentine today. So from the great United Kingdom, the Welsh boys are
from Wales.
Yeah. The Wales. So Bullet for My Valentine. Fun band for sure. This is actually one of the bands that, and we've talked about this before, but I can literally say that I jumped in on the ground floor with these guys. So
same.
So
even in my 30s, damn it.
Hey, 30s.
I was still right on top of these guys.
That's the ripe age. So a little story about Bullet for My Valentine for me. So I had just gotten into like the whole metalcore thing. I didn't even really know it was quote unquote metalcore at the time, but I had just discovered bands like, I guess you could say Avenged Sevenfold, but mostly like Killswitch Engage.
Killswitch, yeah.
That was more Brian S., I'm about to get to you in my story right now. So you kind of laid the groundwork for it. So me and Brian S. Had got an apartment together in, I think it was 2006, if I remember correctly. And we would play a video game that I'm sure many are familiar with called Madden. And
what?
Madden. So it's a football simulation game where we would pick teams and
go with the round ball where they put it in the net thingy.
No, it's the round ball that you kick.
Whose
ball?
Whose ball?
So Madden at the time was finally starting to get around with cool game soundtracks, and now they're not good anymore. But back then, there was a lot of cool shit on these soundtracks, and a lot of cool like metal bands, just all kinds of cool stuff.
Kind of everywhere back then. I mean, look at WWE too.
Yep.
I mean, oh my God, there was great bands all over those.
Yep.
WWE, whatever they called those things, they put out those CDs. There's great bands all over the place.
Yeah. So
yeah, Madden too.
So the one year Madden had four words to choke upon.
Easy for you to say. Easy for you not to choke on.
Easy for me not to say. But this was before the album came out. So the game releases, I don't know, July or August, usually before the NFL season starts. And that song was on there. I'm like, what the hell is this? This song is so awesome. And then, I started looking up the band Bullet for My Valentine, and, I stumbled across this album had been released in Europe, but had not been released in the US. I'm like, shit, I can't buy it. Luckily, we had other ways of getting things at the time.
Yes, we did.
So I was able to get this whole, which we'll get to here very shortly. But that's how I discovered the band, was off of this one Madden song before it was released. So, so I literally ground floor, I was in on these guys. I was like, I sought them out, only hearing one song, and the album hadn't even come out in America yet. They hadn't released anything here. So, it's just one of those cool feelings that you're like, man, I was there from the beginning on these guys. So with that being said, Mr. H, what do you got on Bullet for My Valentine?
All right, I'll share my little story about Bullet for My Valentine once we get into the first album here. It's pretty similar to yours.
Okay.
Bullet for My Valentine is a metalcore band. We'll talk a little bit about the labels that are put on these bands and how they cross over so much, and it's kind of exhausting. But this is one of the ones where this band gets labeled a lot of different things. So this is a good example of how these genres, they call them subgenres, how they cross over, and they're just kind of meaningless, really. They're a metal band, we'll put it that way.
Sure, yeah.
It formed in Bridgend, Wales in 1998. Now, their first album didn't come out until late 2005, 2006 in the United States, so that's a long time. They were originally called Jeff Killed John until 2003. So for 5 years, they were performing. There's really not much if any recorded material out there from Jeff Killed John, but it doesn't really matter because they sounded quite a bit different than the band that we're reviewing now sounded anyway. So founded by Matt Tuck, guitarist and vocalist, songwriter, and Michael Paget, which are both still in the band, and Nick Crandall, who played bass, and Michael Thomas, Moose Thomas, played drums. Crandall didn't make it to the release of the first album and was replaced for live gigs on bass by Jason James at that point. Before the first album even came out. They've released 7 studio albums to date and was just seen live by our one and only Herd here recently at Sonic Temple. And they were out on the road. I even put in here before I realized and heard today, which I guess it's from days ago, but I just read it today, that this tour was supposed to go all over the world with Trivium, called the Poison Ascendancy Tour. Both Trivium and Bullet for My Valentine were at Sonic Temple, and Herd got to see them both.
Mm-hmm.
They're touring together, doing their twin kind of 20-year-old albums now, which is Bullet's first album, and Trivium, I believe, their second album, Ascendancy, called the Poison Ascendancy Tour. So they were out celebrating that, and apparently the tour is kind of falling apart. They're finishing the North American leg here and then not going to South America and England and wherever else they're supposed to go. So I'll just pretty much leave that at that. And Bullet for My Valentine is they put out 3 albums of just such outstanding material. For me, I loved these guys when I first heard them. The first album came out in the U.S., which I like to say more because it really came out August 22nd, 2005 in Europe. But in the United States, the band being called Bullet for My Valentine came out on Valentine's Day in 2006 in the United States, which I thought was pretty cool. So 13 songs on here. Colin Richardson produced. So they were signed pretty much to a pretty big label right off the start. They had a great producer right off the rip there, which is outstanding because this album sounds great. This album includes 2 songs from previous EPs, Hand of Blood and a self-titled EP called Bullet for My Valentine. Those 2 songs are Cries in Vain and 4 Words. 4 Words was the first song, just like you just mentioned, that I had ever heard from Bullet for My Valentine. Now, I can't tell you where exactly I heard that song. I think it was probably on Sirius or, XM. I think they were probably still separate at the time, but it might have even been at a show because I was going to concerts like a crazy man back then. I mean, I was seeing everybody that came through Cleveland. So it could have even been there. But I remember hearing the song and I'm like, I just remember him saying the song 4 words to choke upon, look at me now. And I was like, well, who are these guys exactly? So I made a note of it, and I probably in my first iPhone or maybe the phone before that, but I made a little note of it to myself. I think I texted myself. I'm like, I got to go look for this. So I went out and looked for it. The first album wasn't out yet. It wasn't even out in Europe yet. So I downloaded. I was downloading a lot of music back then. Downloaded it probably off of LimeWire, I think, where I got lots of music. And I found this EP called Hand of Blood, which had that song on it. So I'm like, oh, so I didn't even know what these guys were called. I heard the song and I'm like, I didn't know who they were. So I was searching around for the song on the internet and I find this Bullet for My Valentine. I'm like, okay, who are these guys? I got to find it. So I found a copy of it, listened to the EP, and I believe it's the first song on the EP. Yes. I believe it's the first song on the EP. And I'm like, there it is. And then I listened to the rest of the EP and it's fantastic. And I was like, oh boy, did I find something here.
Yep.
So then, not long after that, I did some sleuthing on the interwebs and found that they're putting out this album called The Poison. And then, man, yeah, the rest is history from there. So anyway, this album includes those two songs. There are some pressings of this that have the Hand of Blood song on it too, I believe. But anyway, fell in love with it right away. Had to have it, and been listening to them pretty much ever since. So at this time, Jay James was in the band to play live, but Matt Tuck recorded all the bass tracks on the album. So he's a very talented guy. And it's also pretty cool. You're kind of starting out big when you've got Apocalyptica to perform the intro track
Right.
on your first album. I'm like, okay. Many people compared their sound to early work of Atreyu too, and I remember Atreyu from back in the day, and I really didn't care for Atreyu that much.
Really? Oh, I loved Atreyu.
Yeah, I wasn't
kind of the same vein. I think I've discovered Atreyu about the same exact time.
And I just was like, I don't know, this just was so much catchier to me than Atreyu was. But Atreyu was okay. I just wasn't a huge fan of them.
Okay.
But and 4 Words, apparently the song was originally recorded to be a Japan only bonus track for the EP, and ended up being one of their more popular songs, especially on this album. So I remember also getting the Digipack, which was cool because it had extra songs on it. And song Hand of Blood is on there as well that I remembered from the EP. So so not only did I download the first version of The Poison, I also remember getting the Digipack because I'm like, yes, I got even more songs now. I couldn't get enough of this band.
Yep.
So I found both EPs, the Poison album and the Poison Digipack album that had extra songs. So yeah, I listened to them constantly. I just loved them immediately, and the rest kind of went from there. Favorites on this album are there's a lot. I really like this album. I have this as an A-. I have this number 3. 4 Words, I'm always going to go back to 4 Words to Choke Upon. I love that song. Tears Don't Fall is incredible and really kind of became their biggest hit on this one, I think. And I love the song as far as deep cuts go. My favorite is probably The End. I really like this song, The End. It's the last track. It's like almost 7 minutes long, but fantastic song. But there's so many really good songs. Her Voice Resides, which is the first song after the Apocalyptica intro, is a fantastic song too. But I could, Cries in Vain is really good. 10 Years Today, I could go on and on. It's really good. So I have this as an A-, although this is number 3. There's a few in a row towards the end that get a little bit stale for me, but aren't really skippable. Those are, but it's kind of minor. That's just my reasoning for making it like an A- and not an A or an A+. It's just there's a few in there that are just, they don't stand out as much as the rest of them, but they're still really good songs. So, and maybe it's the fact that I listened to this album a whole lot at that time. So, those songs just weren't in my same wheelhouse, I guess. So anyway, I have this at number 3 as an A-. What did you think of The Poison, which you just saw in its entirety at Sonic Temple?
I saw it in its entirety minus Spit You Out. They didn't play that.
I wonder why.
Because they only had time to play the 12 songs plus Waken the Demon.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot that they did that time constraint because it's a festival. So.
Right. Love Atreyu becoming the bull. That's WWE walkout song when I daydream. That's awesome. Brian, Brian, we used to play a lot of video games together. So we played those WWE games, and he was a nightmare to play against. He had like these thumbs that like circled around the buttons, and everybody lost every time. Like, dude, just whooped our ass all the time. So shout out to Brian. Thanks for listening, dude. Appreciate you.
Yes. We knew he'd be here for this one. I remember him saying last
Yeah.
week he was looking forward to it because he loves this band. So
Yeah.
good, because we love him too.
Yep. The Poison, such a good album. Can't really say a whole lot more than you did. It just kind of captivates a time in my life, and it's, you know, people can complain. It's very emo. It's very, you know, it is. I mean, this is basically a song. Most of these songs are about probably a girlfriend that cheated on him or whatever. Like, it's oozing with emo.
The band name alone is about
Yes.
the same thing. I mean, you're
I
getting
know.
what you expect.
Yeah,
know,
you are.
When you turn this on.
But man, these chugging riffs and these guitar harmonies, oh my god.
Yes.
It's just phenomenal. I absolutely love basically most of these albums. You could say what you want. The lyrics, I don't always, it gets corny a lot. It gets cheesy a lot. It gets awkward a lot. Like,
I read that one of the reviewers said somebody needs to get Mac Tuck a thesaurus.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's about the most accurate thing I think I've ever heard, because they do write a lot about a lot of the same things, and there's a lot of kind of the same wording. It's kind of funny, you know. It's funny, but they're so good though. They're so good at it.
Well, when your guitars sound like they do between him and Padgett, they duel off each other so nice.
Yes.
So the show was phenomenal, of course. They playing this whole album was amazing to me. It rekindled my love for this album. Oh yeah, so good. So
I'm not sure they've been out touring a whole lot. So I was
they
wondering how, like, since 2020, I'm kind of saying, you know, but I don't think they've been out on huge tours a lot. So I wondered how they sounded. You know, that there's no word at all on anything new coming out from them, and they haven't put out an album in 4+ years. So
no, they've been, but that's the reason why Matt wants to get off this tour.
Oh,
because I guess he has songs that they've put together and he wants to go record. So that was his reason, and that's why Paolo for Trivium was venting like, Matt Tuck, blah blah blah. So but he's like, guys, I want to do this album. So that was the story I've heard from people in the know, I guess. Who knows? But The Poison is great. I can't add a whole lot more. A couple more songs that I like. I love Room 409. I love the title track, The Poison. I mean, Suffocating Under Words of Sorrow. Man, and these songs are all good. Favorites, most of them. Skippers, none of them. I could listen to all of them. This is an A album for me, of course. It's classic. Like you talking earlier, I expected this to go easy number one. I was going to put it there and number one no matter what, but I actually put this at number two. Actually, one through this listen spoke to me a little bit more, and I was more into it. But it's real damn close. I got a 1A and a 1B for sure. I don't have three like you. I have two that are masterful in my mind, and then I have two that are really close. So we'll talk about those either. But Brian has a surprise number one too, so we'll see.
Nice, I love it.
Love to see that. We can go through it with you as well. So he's got a surprise number one. Poison number two for me, but it's an A. What's that, Mr.
All right, Brian. While we're talking about it, what did you have? Where did you have The Poison? What number?
Tell us your number of Poison.
Yeah. Just might as well have you do it while we're going through it too. It'd be more fun that way.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, great album though. Just fantastic, right out of the box album. And I was like, oh man, if these guys can keep doing this and actually maybe get better at doing this. 2A. So he's got this at number 2.
Okay. Same as me.
Yep. So I have it at number 3. For me, there's 3 albums and then there's a drop off, and then they kind of went some different directions with the other 4. But
Okay.
I like all 7 of these
Yeah.
albums. There's not one that I don't like.
Okay.
So just they did some different things that I didn't really care for as much, but they still do those things well. So we'll get to those later. So on to the second album, January 28th, 2008, Scream, Aim, Fire. 11 songs on this album. Colin Richardson once again. There's a little bit faster, a little bit heavier album with a little bit more thrash thrown in with their
100%.
melodic metalcore. Less screaming and a little bit more aggressive instrumentation here. I have to mention here, this band does many great covers. They cover a lot of Metallica songs. They do great covers. One of my favorite covers, this is going to sound crazy, but it's one of my favorite cover songs of all time because it's a movie that I grew up watching over and over again, is the song No Easy Way Out by Robert Tepper from the Rocky IV soundtrack.
I was doing the montage.
Yeah, it's a bonus track on this album, and they hit that one so far out of the park and down the street. I mean, I love it so much that if you can find it somewhere, because it's not on Spotify, you actually have to go to YouTube if you really want to hear it. Oh my God, it's such a great cover. And if you've heard that song and seen Rocky IV a million times like I have,
Yeah.
oh, you're gonna absolutely love it because it's just a metal version of an already great song by a guy named Robert Tepper. I can't even name another song that guy did, but oh my
Who cares? That song's awesome.
what a great cover! And I'm telling you, there's Creeping Death, there's a million Master of Puppets. There's a lot of great Metallica covers by this band too, but that one, holy crap, do I love that one. I like the style a little bit more than the Poison. I like their singing harmonies. I love the guitar work and the guitar harmonies. It's just incredible between these two guys. You can tell these two guys have been playing together for a long time. The solos are outstanding. We talked Heard talked for 10 minutes about the breakdown and the solos in Aesthetics of Hate by Machine Head. I could do the same thing about Scream, Aim, Fire, the breakdown and solo. It's not as long, not nearly. I wish it was, but there's 2 breakdowns. There's one in the middle and one at the end, and the solo. Oh my God, I could listen to that over and over until my dying day. It's so good. It makes my hair stand on end every time I hear it. God, I love it. It's so good. My favorites on this one are Scream, Aim, Fire, obviously. Hearts Burst into Fire is another ballad. Like they do some of these hate ballads, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's a fantastic song. They do a really great job with them. Waking the Demon, as they played in your encore of the show you saw at Sonic Temple, is another great song. Last to Know is probably my favorite song on this album. It's a deep cut on here, and I love End of Days also. There are no skippers on this album. I have this one as an A. I have this number 2. I like this one slightly better than the debut, but they're both fantastic albums. But I like this one slightly more. I just like it's just slightly faster and heavier with the instrumentation, and their singing is great. Like their hooks and in the choruses and stuff. It's just they're so memorable. It just, man, I can't get enough. It's like candy, man. It's so good. So, what did you think of Scream, Aim, Fire? I had an A, number 2.
All right, man. I love Scream, Aim, Fire, of course. It's just like it spoke to me. Like, how do we make the Poison better? Oh, let's throw some thrashier riffs in there. I was
right?
Like, yes,
Oh
please.
God.
Like, sold. Like, I'll take it. I think the first 4 tracks of this album is their best 4-track run on any album, and that really helps catapult it for me. I love, obviously, you mentioned Scream, Aim, Fire. Eye of the Storm, I think, is phenomenal. Waking the Demon is probably their best song. Just that breakdown, it's just, they slow it down, and oh, it's so good. And in the, when they go into the solo, they have really good transitions, going from, from verse to chorus, and then to the solo, and then like a breakdown part. It's just so good. The video is phenomenal too. I absolutely love it. I also love the song "Deliver Us from Evil." That's one of my favorite deep cuts of theirs.
Very good.
Absolutely love it. Um, just cut to the chase with this. This is the one that snuck into number one for me. I just think this is masterful. It just the way that it's carried on, like it sounds as good as the first time I bought the disc and threw it in my car. Like it sounds just as good today. All these albums were produced so well. The guitar sounds so good. It's just always going to sound good. So this one is another A. It's A just like Poison. They're both A. The Poison might have a little bit more. I don't know. Oh, it's Brian. I love it. Yep, Brian has number one, Scream Aim Fire. So I'm actually a little surprised by that. Brian S is not typically into as heavy a stuff as I am, but good to see. They're so melodic though in their choruses. I mean, the guy can sing his ass off. So
Yes.
I mean, that really does help. Between the heavy riffs and all that stuff. So yeah, this is number one. It's a number A or a letter A. These first two are just neck and neck, 1A, 1B. But Scream Aim Fire was a little surprise for me. I couldn't believe it snuck past the Poison, especially just seeing the Poison live. I thought that was going to be stuck in my head, and that's what I was going to go with. But 1 and 2, first two records, you can't say that too often on our program, on our
program.
on our program. So,
all right. So we've got your two number ones on to my number one. We have Fever, April 26th, 2010. 11 songs of greatness. Don Gilmore, Linkin Park producer, Good Charlotte producer, produced this one. They started working on this about a year after Scream Aim Fire came out. Matt Tuck used to write lyrics after the instrumental parts were complete, but for this album, he said he did them. They kind of did them both at the same time. Tuck said that the recording was hard on this one, but they stuck at it, wanting to make a better record than Scream Aim Fire. They rewrote lyrics and melodies up to 5 times on some of these songs to make them better and better. And man, it worked. It worked for me in a big way. I told her before we started this podcast when I was listening to them, like I knew there was 3 albums that I absolutely loved by them, and I liked them so much that I didn't even remember what songs were on which album. So for me, it came down to which album. I knew one of those 3 was going to be my number one album, but I just didn't know which one because it came down to the biggest collection of songs that I loved. Whichever album had the most of them, that was going to be my number one album. And I listened to all 3 of these albums, and I still kind of couldn't decide. And I wanted to go listen to them all again, but I still had to listen to 4 more albums. So I did go back and listen to all 3 of these again, though, and just to kind of nail down my 2 and 3. This one actually had the more songs that I love on it. They said Don Gilmore also really pushed them and that they were very happy with how this album turned out. They said even though Scream Aim Fire was successful, they kind of strayed away from what made The Poison so good. So this one to me is kind of a blend of both of those. Like it has some thrashier elements. It has a little bit more screaming, where on the last one it was kind of a lot more singing. So this one has a little bit more of the harsh vocals on it, but not quite as aggressive instrumentally, but kind of a little bit more so than The Poison, but not as much as Scream Aim Fire. This is just the fact that they work so hard on this one. I think it just shines through for me. And this one works the best for me. I just love these songs. These are songs that I listen to and I wake up 3 days later and I cannot get them out of my head. This is more just kind of mainstream metal, I would say, and less thrash, like I said, but people keep saying that Bittersweet Memories is said to be more like emo than metal. This is where I'm going to talk about this. All these genres cross over, run together so much.
yeah.
Reviews say they split the style, the difference between the styles of the first 2 records was pretty much what I just described. And it's just, I don't understand why everything has to be put into some kind of category. Like it's just metal, right? Like it's an emo or screamo or like, is there any really a difference between metalcore and like, why do we have to try to split them up so much? It's just, I don't know, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but I love this album so much. So my favorites, it just starts off with Your Betrayal, which is, it might be their most popular song, their most
Probably,
played song. And it just starts off with that, and that song just rips. And then Fever is amazing. Last Fight is probably my favorite song. That or Pain and Pleasure, like total. But I love Dignity. Begging for Mercy is outstanding. Like the deep cuts on this one, I could just go on and on about it. Breaking Out, Breaking Down, Alone. There's so many great songs, so many memorable choruses, so many great guitar riffs and harmonies and solos. Is just all over the place. This album just shines like a diamond for me, man. I can't take my ears off of it. We'll put it that way. I just know skippers. I'm gonna have to look, but I don't think I have any skippers at all for this band on 7 albums. So it tells you kind of what I think of them in total. That this band is just in my wheelhouse. Like I love like vocal harmonies and guitar harmonies and solos, just like you do, Heard. And like that's what this band does. They do it maybe better than anybody. Like I think that listening to this, and we just did Killswitch not that long ago, and I love Killswitch Engage. I think I like Bullet for My Valentine more than I like Killswitch Engage. Like they do what Killswitch does, but they do it better. Like I don't know, it's just something about this band. I love everything that they do. I saw them 2 or 3 times on this tour. Probably the best time I saw them. Now they only played 10 songs, which kind of sucked. But it was at a rib cook-off, the Mark's Rib Burn-Off down at Tower City. Hailstorm opened for them. I got a general admission ticket for this concert. It cost me like $20. And then they had like a VIP general admission area in the front that I didn't think I paid for. But when I walked up, they gave me this wristband, and they just showed me into this little area that was in front of one set of fencing, right like up against the security guards. And I'm telling you, there was like 30 people in this big area in the front. I felt like a VIP. I felt like I was watching them at my house. It sounded so good. It was a beautiful night. Like it was this the end of May. It was like warm, but not too warm. There was no rain. It was like Hailstorm was outstanding opening up for them. And I was like, wow, I don't know if Bullet can beat that. And Bullet, they just tore the roof off the place. And the place, I swear it was like maybe half full. It was kind of sad, but I had the greatest time, and it's the best time I've seen them, out of I think I told you I've seen them 7 times in the Cleveland area. I know I've seen them at festivals outside of Cleveland. I tried not to look all those up. It would have taken way too much time to say how many times I've seen them. It's probably somewhere around 10, I would say, but that was the best one. It was so good. So my favorites being Your Betrayal, Fever, Last Fight, Pain and Pleasure, Dignity, Begging for Mercy. I named a whole bunch of songs. No skippers. A+. I don't give out a lot of A+. This one's an A+ for me. And my only notes were, fuck yeah. That's all I could put on here. Just so good. What did you think of Fever there, Heard?
I like it a lot. I don't like it as much as you.
Sorry to hear that.
No, you're forgiven. No problem. All good. It's excellent stuff. I don't know why. Typically, the kind of stuff doesn't bother me, but his lyrical content at this point has really kind of started to grate at me a little bit. And it didn't early on. I would say going back to this album feels a little more juvenile. And again, it has nothing to do with how amazing the music is, because it's still freaking amazing. I no matter what album, other than maybe one coming up, I can't really rip on the music at all, because the guitars are on point basically all the time. I love Your Betrayal. Fever, I don't love as much as I used to. That's one for me, especially the breakdown, the something about you dirty girl on your knees. What I'm good with that. Like,
he could have been singing in Spanish or German for all I care at this point. I don't care at all about the lyrics. So no, it is corny. I give you that, but whatever. It means nothing to me.
No, but when I'm looking at all these albums, and they're all really, really good. Like that's gonna be for
Yeah.
me. That's
Yeah.
gonna be the kind of
If you
title.
care about lyrics, I
Yeah.
totally get that. If
Sure.
it means more to you, then I can see you knocking it down for that because it is.
It's a
It's
little silly.
corny. He
Yeah.
needs a thesaurus. Like it's so true. It's funny.
My favorite song on this album is "The Last Fight." I
Oh, oh
absolutely
God.
love that track. I do
I
like
am not your
Pleasure.
enemy.
Yep. I do love Pleasure and Pain. I mean, who doesn't?
Ugh.
Um,
Again, it's corny lyrically,
it
like
is.
it's
It is.
total like your girlfriend broke up with you, you don't give me pleasure, you only give me pain over and over again.
I
Like it's
know.
just the chorus, like it's so high school, junior high-ish even, but it's oh my
Yeah.
God, the song is
Bittersweet
incredible.
Memories, as the BBC classified it. A song with lyrics of childish despair and forlorn desire.
It's so 14-year-old of him. Oh my goodness.
I do.
Forlorn desire.
Yeah.
That's like right out of a romantic novel, right?
Well, they pulled out their thesaurus because they needed Matt Tuck to
Right?
pull out his thesaurus.
Right?
So,
At least they didn't pull out their purple-headed warrior. Like I could,
alrighty then.
like I mean, this is right out of a romantic novel, right?
Okay. But overall, I like Fever. Again, I still will crank the tunes, and the guitar riffs are still badass.
Amazing.
Again, I just, if I'm being picky and I'm looking, there's an album that kind of, hold on. I just laugh at Brian's comments and then
Man, they run at number 2, but he might have knocked it down to number 4 just because of what Heard's saying here.
that's funny.
Oh, man.
But good album. I still have it at number 4, and I still have it a B.
4?
Yes, sir.
Ouch.
I like 1 better than the classic 2. We'll see which one that is, but I like the hits better on this one other album than Fever. But Fever's 4. I mean, it's still a B album. I still love it. I hardly would skip anything other than parts. Like Fever is such a good song. Like, why do you need that breakdown? Like, you nailed breakdowns earlier with stuff. Why do you need "Come Here, You Naughty Girl"? You're such a tease. Like, I just feel dirty. Like I'm a 40-something-year-old man now. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
And he's still up there on stage singing, and you look so freaking good down on your knees. Like, come on. Like,
Did you like it more 30-year-old Heard?
Probably. Probably.
You're like, yeah.
Like, raunchy are the better. But now it's like, I have a family now, guys.
Yeah.
Like, I respect women now.
Me too, and I'm an older man than you. I respect him too, but I didn't write the song, and like I said, he could be singing it in a language I completely don't understand. I don't give a crap.
Totally
the words mean nothing to me. He could have been humming it. I don't know, whatever. As long as they can do it, as long as him and Padge could harmonize the humming, it would be great. So
yeah, well, they do harmonize, and they talk about humming a lot. So
it's a hummer of an album. I tell you what.
Yes, it is.
Oh my goodness. All right.
Yep.
So we'll move on from my number 1. Things drop off from here, not a long ways, but they drop off from here for me. I have no more A's. Splits off in different directions. There's reasons for that I'll get into. But anyway, so we move on to February 8th, 2013. We have Temper. Talking about dumb lyrics. Temper. So 11 songs. Don Gilmore again. This is the last album with the original lineup. The original being from the Poison on. They had different guys earlier, but as Jay James leaves in 2015. They collaborated with Fozzie's Chris Jericho on Dead to the World on this album. This album started to divide fans and critics a little bit here. One said they needed to do better. One critic said they needed to do better or risk hurting their untouchable reputation. And another saying it fused their tight technical thrash with the biggest hooks of their career. I disagree with that.
Disagree.
Their bigger hooks are on all 3 of the first albums, all over the place, more than on this one.
Yep.
I still really like this, and still really like this band, but this one falls short of their previous greatness for me. I do like Truth Hurts. I like Riot. I like Tears Don't Fall Part 2, but it's not necessary to call it that. I thought that was kind of an interesting choice. Like, call it Obsession Redemption. because
Right.
that's what he keeps saying in the chorus. Like, it's not even really that similar a song to the first Tears Don't Fall. Like the Metallica Unforgivens, I get because they
Right.
all kind of sound similar, right? And they all have the same subject matter. Like this one, I don't know. I just don't get. I get the Unforgiven stuff. I don't get why they did that with this one. But anyway, I like the song though. It's just I don't know why they called it that. It's interesting. Skippers, not really, but a couple of them are close with parts of songs. They have some like there's like 3 in a row towards the second half of the album here that maybe not the second half, but there's 3 pretty close together songs here that kind of have some slowish ballady moments. This is kind of more radio hard rock than it is metal like they were doing before. So they still sound amazing though. And it's just this is a B and this is number 5 for me, but the songs just plain aren't as good on here as on previous albums. But like I said, it's still a solid B. There's no skippers. Like I said, there's a couple that's close where if like whole songs were like that, like maybe 2 in a row, maybe I'd want to really skip one. But there really aren't. It's just kind of this breakdown and slow kind of melodrama kind of ballady stuff that I'm like, all right, this is like the second or third time I've heard this in a pretty short time, and this album just got old. But other than that, really good stuff still. B number 5. What did you think of Temper?
So this one is the weakest for me. This one totally
All
missed
together? Of all the albums?
all together.
Wow.
This one,
Okay.
this one missed. This one has it had 4 singles, and they're by far the weakest singles for me. I actually of the 4, I like I like POW and Breaking Point probably the best of the 4. The song Temper is really not good to me. I don't like it. And again, we can go to the lyrics. The temper, time to explode.
Yeah, it's
You make me, or feels good when you make me lose control. Chambers empty.
Does
Time
that
to
mean like
reload.
is he
Oh
talking
my
about like
god!
make me feel good when you make me lose control like temper like he starts swinging at people? Like I didn't know quite how to take that, or is it just all metaphorical
It
sex
has to be
stuff?
metaphorical. If you listen to the rest of the words about
Yeah.
dripping this and gripping that, it's
Dripping and gripping. Hey, there rhymes at least. Oh boy.
This does have skippers for me. This is
Okay.
one of the only albums I believe that has skippers. I think Leech is horrible. I think Leech is probably their worst song. If I had to put that label on it, in the
I think
middle
I
of the
might agree
album,
with you there. I didn't really have the urge to skip it,
yeah,
but at the same time, it might be their weakest song altogether.
yeah,
Hmm.
it's really not. This album really in the middle. It just really bows out. Riot is okay. You mentioned Riot. I like that chorus is even though it's a little cheesy, at least it's like I don't know, it sounds cooler, I guess. The here comes the violence, here comes the Lord, whatever
Yeah,
it says.
yeah,
I mean, at least that's kind of catchy. I was like, all right, that's cool.
yeah.
But overall, this album's really, really disappointing to me. It was okay when it first came out, and I like it less now. It's not I'm not putting anything in D range or anything like that. This is a C minus for me. It really was stretching as far as I could dislike Bullet for My Valentine, but it's number 7 for me, and it's honestly it's not even close. This is the bottom dropped out for me. Was really happy with the next album because I was really worried, like, oh, well, what are we doing here? But yeah, not a fan of Temper. Number 7, C minus. Brian S has this as a 6 in C, so he's a little bit more along the lines of me there. Not a fan. Like I said, I'm finally skipping songs, and this is just weak when it comes to the singles. At least every other album, like the singles, you can count on those. Like that when the
Yeah.
singles hit, that they're gonna be at least good for me. And I've
Yeah.
seen a lot of those songs live, and a lot of them hit a little bit better for me. So that's just my feelings on Temper. Not a huge fan.
Fair. I mean, we all sort of agree, I think, on that one. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I had it rated a little higher letter grade wise, but there's only 7 albums. So, on to Venom. So, August 14th, 2015. Colin Richardson is back with Carl Brown, who will produce the last 2 albums for them. It's the final album for drummer Moose Thomas, who left in 2017. This one came out August 14th, 2015. 11 songs. Matt Tuck recorded all the bass parts, even though Jamie Mathias was credited on the album. He didn't play a note on the album. Tuck played it all. Mathias said he hoped to be more involved on future albums, and he is. So that's good. More mixed reviews with fans seeming to like it more than Temper, but critics were saying it lacks the quality choruses of past albums, and I tend to agree with that one. They released 6 songs off of this album. Now, to me, this is their last album in the Sony music family, so I feel like the record company pushed this one pretty hard to try to squeeze everything out of it as far as I'm with you, Brian. As far as trying to get the most out of Bullets that they can, because they were losing them anyway. So I think that's part of the reason. Because I don't know that this really, there's 6 quality songs on here to put out as singles, but I don't know. I guess that's just me, and maybe Brian. My favorites on here are No Way Out and Broken. Really no skippers. I have this down. This is a B-. This is number 6. This is not a great album. It's all still pretty good though, but it's not great. Like, I think the most played one on here is You Want to Battle, Here's a War. Again, that's cheese lyrically too. I don't know. It doesn't really have the ferociousness that the title kind of states. So it kind of comes across as weak because here's You Want to Battle, here's a war. And it's just, there's no really battle or war going on there. It's just not really that aggressive. So it's kind of weird, but I don't know. That's one of the songs I really don't care for on here that it seems like everybody else likes. So, but I did like No Way Out, and I like Broken a lot. Hell or High Water, I like. Pariah, I like too, but not that they're favorite songs of mine. But they released Raising Hell, No Way Out, You Want to Battle, Here's a War, Army of Noise, Venom, and Worthless, all off of this album. Jeez, that's more than half the album. So anyway, I had this at B-, number 6. What did you think of Venom?
Venom, I like. This one, like I said, is a little bit more return to form for me. This one, I love No Way Out. That's probably one of my favorite songs by them.
Really good song for sure.
Loud
ass motherfucking barking dogs.
Yep, exactly.
Can you hear
I don't know what the hell they're barking at, but
probably the mailman.
At this time, probably not. I don't know what the hell the problem is, but No Way Out, I absolutely love the chorus. One of my favorite choruses. You talk about choruses. I agree mostly. The choruses, I think, on this album mostly are lacking more than the earlier stuff, but No Way Out is hits for me. I love Army of Noise. I love Worthless. Those 3 songs are the main 3 for me, and then it definitely takes a little toll off. But for me, this just hits a little bit better than Fever does now, just because I like those singles. I love those 3 songs, and I don't really love much off of Fever anymore. So I think just standing the test of time, I like this one a little bit better. So for me, this is number 3, and it's a B. So it's not that far off with letter grades. I come back to this one quite a bit. For some reason, when this came out, it hit more with me, and then I continue to come back to it more than these other ones that I ranked a little bit lower. So I like Venom. The second half of the album is not as strong for sure. I don't dislike it. Not like Temper, where I'm skipping a couple tracks in the middle there. I'm not skipping anything like you said on this one. So it's a solid album with 3 top heavy songs for me. So
I feel like it picks up a little at the end. Like, the heart of the heart, the harder it breaks is not real good. But
yeah,
like I said, Hell or High Water.
Yeah, no, I agree.
The last 2 are pretty good.
Yep. No, I agree. And I agree with you on You Want to Battle, Here's a War. That's the one that they continue to play live off this album.
Yeah, why?
I'm like, play No Way Out. Like, that song is like it's got the killer hook in it. Like
it does.
He builds up to it. Tell me why I feel like that's a good chorus. Like, that's what they're lacking these days compared to the old days. It's just
totally agree. And we'll get to that. Totally agree.
So,
yep. Yep.
I like Venom. Number 3, letter B.
All right. So we'll move on to Gravity. So for me, I had the first 3 albums are their shiny greatness, right? And then for me, there's a drop off to Temper, and Venom's a little bit more of a drop off, but I think you would even, well, I guess you have Venom above Fever, but it's still a drop off for you from the first 2 albums. Like
Yeah,
it's just there's not as much great stuff there. Like they've kind of run out of great material, it
agreed.
seems like. So now with Gravity, I think they're kind of going in a sideways direction now. So they've kind of dropped down, and the stuff that they put out that sounds like them doesn't work as well as it did before. So now I feel like they're trying some different things. So
They are.
this album, this is Carl Brown now. And I don't think it's Carl Brown because this album and the next album sound totally different. So
Yeah,
it's not a fact of they changed producers and then they changed their sound. I don't think it really has anything to do with that. But this is a significant change to their sound. It's a lot more kind of new metal, and it's said to be similar to when the band was called Jeff Killed John, which I never really heard any of that. Like I couldn't. I may have downloaded a track or two back on the LimeWire days. I don't know if I still have them. I mean, I knew that the band existed as another name before, but I never really listened to it. And I couldn't really ever find much from that name. So this is the first album with drummer Jason Bold, who is still in the band now, as well as the first album with Jamie Mathias as a contributing member, who I believe he's still in the band now too. I think it's these 4 guys now. In fact, now when I see interviews and see photos and stuff, like if you pull up the setlist.fm or whatever, and they have the little video down in the right corner down there, and they'll have like a couple band members talking about an album or their most recent album. It's Jamie Mathias and Matt Tuck now. It used to be Padge and Matt Tuck all the time, but now this Jamie Mathias, the bass player, apparently he's a lot more heavily involved, which is what he wanted. So that's kind of a good thing, I think. But this one kind of got mixed to negative reviews. So this is the first time in their career I think they've received truly negative reviews, like not just 1 or 2 where it was kind of mixed, but this is kind of not overwhelmingly negative, but I don't think people really took to this very much. And they're like, man, what is this exactly? Like, there's some were calling it a bastard hybrid of Linkin Park style radio rock, and that couldn't be more accurate. Like,
yeah,
there are 3 or 4 songs in a row on here that sound like I'm expecting to see a Mike Shinoda writing credit on here.
yeah.
Or there's so much keyboard driven stuff on here. Like the guitars take a back seat and you have this keyboard melody. Like, I'm like, is Joe Hahn back behind the curtain back there? Like, who is this other member playing this stuff? Like, it just doesn't sound like them. Now, that doesn't mean it's terrible, though. They do everything kind of well. This just doesn't sound like them. So another more positive reviewer said this album. Now, this is probably the most accurate thing. This positive reviewer said that the album is really catchy, but metal purists will find it frustrating. And I'm like, that is so true, because the guitars are almost, they're not gone. They're huge in certain spots, but they're not like always there. And that, like the harmonies and like the great solo work, like that stuff's just kind of gone. It's just a weird direction. I'm not sure kind of what they were going for. A lot of production with atmospheric keyboard stuff going on that I hadn't heard much from them before. It still does have its moments though, but like Over It, Letting You Go, Not Dead Yet, those 3 songs are all in a row. Those are all Linkin Park. It's got Linkin Park written all over them. Like early Linkin Park though, not like Linkin Park morphed into other things later, but this is like first 2 albums Linkin Park stuff. And if you hear it, you're gonna be like, "Oh yeah!" Like if you put those songs on, you'd be like, "Yeah, it's unmistakably Linkin Park." So, my favorite, so like Over It is a really catchy song. It's just an early Linkin Park sounding track. Like same with Letting You Go. It's a good song. It's not Bullet for My Valentine, Letting You Go. Now, Piece of Me sounds mostly more like them. It's the first song that I heard on this album. It's number 6 on this album. It's the first one that I heard that really kind of sounds like, for the most part, Bullet for My Valentine. Don't Need You is the only other one that really sounds like the band that the name on the record implies. And that's Bullet for My Valentine. There's those 2 songs. Don't Need You is song 10, Piece of Me song 6. Those are the only 2 that really sound like Bullet for My Valentine songs. Now, having said that, I don't really have any skippers on here. There's no songs that I really don't like. It just, it's catchy, like the guy said, but it just doesn't sound like metal. And it doesn't really sound like Bullet for My Valentine. Like all their shiny, guitar and vocal elements are kind of missing. So I have this as a B minus. I have this at number 7, but like I said, I still like it. So it's very, very forward with the keys and less guitar hooks, which is sad because if it was the other way around, like let's say they add a little bit of keyboards, but like all the melodies were done with guitar and some guitar harmonies, boy, I would have liked this a ton more than I do now because the songs are still pretty good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I like Early Linkin Park a lot. It's just not what I'm looking for from Bullet for My Valentine. So
Right.
I have this as B minus, number 7. One of them had to be at the bottom. I can't love
Sure.
everything. So
Sure.
this was the bottom for me just because it just sounded so much different from them. What did you think of Gravity?
Gravity to me was the album that was meh. Just listening to it, it just was on. It's one of those background albums for me. I agree with you. There wasn't really anything I dislike off of it, but I was getting bored getting through it. I was interested to hear the new one, the newest one. It's not new anymore, but so by the time I got to this one, even though it's only 7 albums, I'm just, because it's so different, kind of spaced out listening to it. I had to restart like 3 or 4 songs because I was like listening to it and I'm like, wait, I missed that whole part, the whole thing.
Or like
So
the one part in the
restarted.
middle of the song with the guitars like wakes you up and you're like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, what song am I on here? And then you
Yeah.
go back and you're like, oh yeah, that's right. It's the same one. It's just part of it wakes you up because you're like, I thought I heard some Bullet for My Valentine in there. Yeah, same thing happened to me.
Yeah. So, I say that I had 2 albums that I thought were epic. I had 2 that were really close, which was Fever and Venom for me. And then I kind of had the bottom 2 where I could have gone either way. I chose Temper last. I went with that one because that one just like makes me more angry, I guess. And this one just makes me more like, like I guess this is all right. So this one slots into number 6 for me, and it's a C album. It's just very meh. I agree with you. I do like Over It, and I did hear. I think I heard Over It live when I saw them 2 years ago. Piece of Me's okay. Not really a whole lot on here. I did notice they have a lot of guest writing credits. So, I remember seeing an interview
Drew
with Matt
Falk, Carl Brown, Matt Schwartz, Rob Caggiano from obviously Volbeat, and before that Anthrax, and before that I can't even remember, but yeah, those are some of the guys. Charlie Simpson, I don't know who that guy is.
Charlie Simpson is the guy from Busted, Fight Star. The only reason I know who these guys are because there's this new band out right now, and everybody thinks it's this guy, this masked band. They're playing this new song. A band called President, and the song's called In the Name of the Father or something like that. Anyway, I just was researching this guy. It was a pretty cool song.
Charlie Simpson?
Charlie Simpson, yeah.
Okay.
So
interesting. I've never heard that. What does that sound like?
What's it sound like? I don't know. I guess like a metalcore type thing, like a what do we call it? I can't even Dream. No, not Dream Theater. No, I can't think of the name. My wife really likes this band. We're going to see him. Dayseeker. That's the one.
Okay.
That's what it kind of sounded like to me. Okay. Maybe a little heavier, but just a little metalcore with like, clean vocals. So
like one of those Octane bands.
Octane band for sure. For sure.
Okay. I haven't heard it yet. So, but I haven't been listening to much Octane now lately.
Yeah.
Honestly. So I probably would have heard it had I been.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, Gravity, it just falls short for me, but it's very like, I just got so bored. I had to keep starting it over. To me, it's just isn't the Bullet that I'm used to, but it's not bad. So number 6 and a C for me.
This is the last time of the 7 times in Cleveland that I saw them. It's also the second last time they've been here.
Yeah.
Was on the Gravity tour. I saw them at House of Blues. I remember I was standing on the floor, like right in the front. Like there wasn't a lot of people there. But it was cool. I mean, I think they played 4 or 5 songs off this album, which is too many. But it was really cool to see them do the other songs too. I want to say they did 14 songs or something. So it was a pretty good show. But Yeah, it's unfortunately the last time I saw him, it was on this
Disappointed I
album. But
missed that one at House
yeah,
of Blues.
it was really good. Like I said, I was able to stand pretty close up front for that one. It was pretty cool, but I didn't really like the songs that much more seeing them live. Sometimes you're like,
Yeah,
man, after, we talked about that with Avenged Sevenfold with that last Weird album where you're like, yeah, I saw it live though, and it was better than I thought it was. And like sometimes that happens. It didn't happen for me with this
right.
album, but it's still sad that it's been 7 years since I've seen them, and they've only been here once, which was for this most recent album here that we're going to get into. But and I missed that one, so I just can't see everybody every time. So I probably would have went had I was able to go, but I just didn't go. And it was also at the House of Blues, I believe. Anyway, so Bullet for My Valentine, self-titled album. I'll also have a self-titled EP that came out before the Poison. Now they have a full self-titled album. November 5th, 2021. 10 songs. I still am kind of unsure why bands have a self-titled album so late in their career. It's just kind
Yeah,
of an odd thing. But I think in this way, they're trying to reinvent themselves. And when you listen to this album, it sounds different. So, like I said, I had the three albums that sounded like classic Bullet for My Valentine. I love all three of them. Then it kind of downgraded, still sound like Bullet for My Valentine. Just songs weren't as good, and then branched off one direction to like a new metal Linkin Park thing. This one overcorrected in the other direction and got really heavy.
really heavy,
So
brutal.
the
Yeah,
good thing is I prefer this over the
same.
Linkin Park, radio rock version. So
Yep.
this one I called Bullet for My Machine Head because there are 3 or 4 songs on here that sound exactly like Machine Head
Yep.
songs,
Agreed.
even with the almost muted whispering vocals, and then to like screaming like Rob Flynn does so well. Like there's quite a bit of that on here. So, but I did like this one more because it's heavy. So I still missed the guitar harmonies and the solos though, because there's a lot of great riffs on here, but they're still missing those that just beauty, that ear
Yep.
candy that they had on those early albums. Man, it was so good. Like, where is that? And I feel like where is it? It's somewhere in between Gravity and this album. It's somewhere
Yeah.
in there. I
Yep.
feel like if they put out another album and they find somewhere in the middle, we might be able to get back to that. Maybe with a little heavier riffage, but still have that nice shiny, guitar harmony stuff in there that I love so much from back then. So it's still possible. I'm not giving up on this band yet. So this was said to be a heavy direction, as I just mentioned, after negative reviews of their revised sound on Gravity. As we mention often on our podcast here, due to the times, it's 2025. This album was hampered a lot by COVID. It seems like they were in a really good writing headspace, churning out some heavy stuff when COVID kind of shut everything down, put everything on the back burner, and kind of breaking their momentum, I guess, So maybe some of that stuff would have been more on this album, but maybe they decided that they just kind of put out the heavier stuff that they had and didn't incorporate the other stuff that we like so much. Um, Parasite starts off as a very Machine Head sounding song. I kind of put in here, have they lost their identity because of the Linkin Park sounding album than this one? As I'm listening to these in order, these are things that just popped in my head. I'm like, man,
Right.
it's like they lost their identity. Like they don't know what they want to be now. I love Machine Head, but I'm not listening to Bullet for My Valentine to hear a Machine Head type songs. I listen to Machine Head for that, or at least I used to.
Right.
But when the singing finally comes in, I mean, for like a minute on this song, Parasite, it actually does sound like them for a minute, and then just a minute, and then it kind of goes back the other way again. So I like the song though, and the Machine Head kind of thing just keeps going throughout this album. I do truly appreciate their heavier approach though. It's missing their trademark harmonies, as I said, and vocal hooks, but it's an overcorrection from Gravity, but I like this direction more than I like that direction. So if they put out another album like this, I'm more okay with that than trying to put out something really off the wall like Avenged Sevenfold did, or some other bands do. Hopefully they don't just go off in another weird direction from here, which is possible. But my favorites on here are Parasite, No Happy Ever After I liked a lot. Shatter is a really good song. Paralyzed I like a lot. Death by a Thousand Cuts I like a lot. These are all heavy, real aggressive songs, though, but I do like those songs. And again, no skippers, so I guess I was right. I didn't have any skippers. I couldn't remember if I had one or two. like you said, I think Leech is probably the closest one to a skipper for me off of a few albums ago. Yeah, there's a few that are pretty close, but their songs are generally shorter.
Yeah, they
It's
are.
a little easier to not skip them. Although this album, there's only 10 songs, but it's still 47 minutes. All these songs are over 4 minutes. Some are over 4 more over 5 minutes.
Yep.
So a little bit longer songs here, but I don't mind it. Like I said, there's still some really good stuff here. I have this as a B. I have this as number 4. I have this. It's an overcorrection for sure. Still a good album, but not close to the greatness that they achieved before. The first 3 albums for me are just incredible. Up there with almost anything, really, for me. I like it that much. After that, it fell off, went in different directions, as I said. They get more guitar hooks and harmonies and melody in there in the next album that it could be great again. So it's out there for them. Hopefully they can pull it off. But anyway, B, solid B, number 4. Brian S, yep, B minus for him, number 4. So he kind of agrees with me on this one. So I guess he likes the heavier side of them too, more so than the Linkin Park side of them on Gravity. What did you think of Bullet for My Valentine self-titled album?
So yeah, no, this is pretty much along the line of what you said. I do like this better than the last one for sure. And of course, I like it even better than Temper Temper. Like, to me, that's bottom. This is a little bit better, which is good. It does have some good songs, the good riffs. That's the first step. You got to have some cool riffs. They have cool riffs. So, I totally agree with that. I do miss the solos. Of course, that was my favorite kind of go-to thing with them. And also the big fat choruses, which those aren't really around anymore either. But, I do really like some of these songs. It kind of sucks because I've heard a few of these bonus tracks, and I think it might have helped this album with a few of these bonus tracks. But Parasite is okay. Knives is really good. I do like Shatter, like you said. Death by a Thousand Cuts, very, very good way to close the album. Very strong. There's a couple bonus tracks. Omen, No More Tears to Cry, pretty good. Those ones I just happen to hear on Octane or whatever. So I was a little more familiar with those. But overall, again, I'll take this, just like you said, I'll take this over whatever that last album was. Again, I know they really wanted to try to go for like a headlining thing at Download. I think they specifically said, if we can download,
wow.
If we can headline by doing something more for the masses. But
boy, how are you doing more for the masses when you have songs like you have off the first 3 albums?
I know, I agree.
That's way more for the masses. I mean, go look
Yeah.
at the plays on Spotify. Tell me what's been played more, Your Betrayal, like at 200 million times, or anything off of this album.
Yeah,
that's
for
insane.
sure.
I don't know what they were thinking there. Now, if they said put out something heavier, then I could see that. But
Right.
more for the masses.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So good. Yeah, there's some strong moments here. I feel like they're not following through with it. So I'm hopeful too, just like you. I feel like maybe this
It's in there.
Yeah, maybe this new album that they're thinking of doing is gonna be back in that sweet spot for everybody. So we can hope. This is number 5 for me in a B minus. There's enough good stuff in here that I probably would come back to it if I was jamming in the car or something. But
Yeah.
it's just hard when you don't have the choruses that you used to have, or the big breakdown moments that we like to play by play.
Yeah.
Kind of missing that stuff. But yeah, it's not bad. As far as I've seen a few of these live. Because this time they played All the Poison, but when I seen them at Sonic 2 years ago, I think they played Knives. I think they played Shatter. I think they played a few of these songs, and they sounded pretty good live. So overall, pretty good. Just again, it's hard when you're the top of your catalog is that good.
Oh, God.
It's just so hard.
So
to live up
good.
to that, so
just so good. Yeah, and admittedly, I haven't listened to this album a whole lot. I mean, before this week, I maybe have listened to this album 3 times all the way through. Right, so I haven't really given this album as much attention as I should give it. But again, if I want to hear Machine Head, there's way better Machine Head songs than what's on this album,
Yeah.
So, but I'm going to go back and listen. This is better than I thought it was. This is 4 years ago already. So, I mean, I
Yeah.
listened to it a few times when it first came out, and I was like, I just was like, okay, it doesn't really sound like what I was looking for. And I didn't give it much of a thought after that. So, but now listening to it now, I'm like, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
So maybe I will give this more listens. Like I'm probably not going to go back to Gravity, but
Yeah, I
this
agree.
album, I'm probably going to come back to later, when I have some time and say, you know what, let me put this on a whole nother pass again and see if I like this a little bit more. Like it doesn't have the hookiness in there, but like you said, the guitar is still so good. There's
Yeah.
such great riffs in here. Like that's always what attracts me to this stuff. So that's what gets me first. And I also want to say too that I wonder how much losing those members that Jay James and Moose Thomas that were with the band for those first 3 albums. I wonder how much. Now it doesn't. They don't have a lot of writing credits though, but I just wonder. It seems like that's when things kind of started to fall off. Was that just because they were kind of out of material and they couldn't just do the same thing anymore? And then they just didn't have as good of songs, or was it because they had different members and Matt Tuck's trying to do everything by himself again, or I don't know. So,
Well,
I mean, I can almost see why they went different directions
yeah.
when these new guys were more involved with the band. I could see maybe one guy really kind of liked the new metal kind of style stuff, and he was like, hey, maybe we should try something like this. Let's throw some keyboards in there. And then maybe Matt Tuck's like, okay, well, yeah, that sounds like it works. And then maybe they were like, okay, that didn't really work for us and people don't really like it, but how about we go the other direction? I don't know. I'm kind of throwing stuff out there. I just wonder why the change, why they went totally one direction and kind of overcorrected to the other direction. I just wonder,
The one
how.
thing, the one thing I do notice, Gravity, Paget is not like he has like one writing credit, but
Okay.
then the new album, he's on every song.
Yeah, him and Tuck are on every song.
So
But there's less outside writers too, so maybe
yeah,
that was just a function.
experimental. Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
outside writers. Maybe these outside writers. I don't know about President, but maybe are they more keyboard driven? Like, maybe a couple of those guys are like, hey, maybe add a little bit of this in there for some atmosphere, and it'll make you sound better.
Yeah,
Whatever. I don't
maybe.
know.
Or
And
maybe something with Padge. I don't know if
yeah,
there was some. I mean, it's just weird to me that you have one album and the second guitarist who's been detrimental with everything you've done is not a part of the writing at all. And then now the new album's like, well, I'm involved again. Maybe he was like, I
maybe he
don't
was
want to.
sick,
And
or maybe he had an
yeah,
injury. I mean, it could have been a
maybe.
million things. Who
That's what
knows?
I'm thinking. Maybe that's a reason. Maybe they're like,
Yeah,
well, maybe now I saw that and something was going on. Now I'm involved in the writing, and now all of a sudden the guitars are back. So it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
maybe, who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. Just kind of throwing it out there because it's just weird that they went in these different directions. The Lincoln Park and the bullet from my machine head kind of.
Yeah, true. All right, Mr.
strange.
H, what do you got?
All right,
7-1 bullet.
7-1. Number 7, Gravity. Number 6, Venom. Number 5, Temper. Number 4, Bullet from my machine head. Number 3, The Poison. Number 2, Scream. Aim. Fire. And number 1, Fever.
That's right, but not as right.
No, that's money. That's what that is.
No, I was just gonna say this is the right one, Brian. Thank you, Brian S, for participating. He had 7 Gravity, 6 Temper, 5 Venom, 4 Self-Titled, 3 Fever, 2 The Poison, 1 Scream Aim Fire. That's Brian S, 7-1. Herds 7-1. Number 7, Temper. Number 6, Gravity. Number 5, Self-Titled. Number 4, Fever. Number 3, Venom. Number 2, The Poison. And number 1, Scream Aim Fire. Those are 7-1. John likes Revenge, of course. I like Revenge also. Can't wait to dig into that album in 7 letters or whatever K is. So, John, look forward to talking Kiss at some point with you. Love me some Revenge.
I told him last week that we're going to have him on here, I think.
Absolutely.
So he said he'd he'd absolutely do it. He said so.
Cool.
He's down for it. So we'll have to figure out. He's a huge Tesla fan, so I think I have them in the list for T. I think,
Okay.
or we will at some point. And I know I have Kiss in here. So
Well, if we're gonna do that, we got to get Brian S. I haven't talked to Brian. I don't know if you want to do that, but his favorite band's Green Day. Maybe we could do a Green Day one for him. I think that have to let me know, Brian, if that would be something you might be interested in.
Yes, let him know.
See if we can get you on. You could rank your Green Day records.
But we'll go ahead.
I was just gonna say, who do we have next week? I didn't look.
I believe it's Bon Jovi. I think
Bon Jovi. Okay. Man, that's going to be interesting. I know there's a couple amazing records early on, but I don't think really know.
Split it into 2 parts, but I don't know that we have to. So
okay, we'll talk about that.
Well, yeah, we'll have to get into it. So it'll either be part 1 next Tuesday, or we'll just do it all in 2 weeks. But I think it's 15 albums or something. It's a lot to do in 1 week. So
he has a country album too, doesn't he?
I don't.
Or 2. I don't know.
Well, we'll definitely leave those out if that's the case. We're not going to do Blaze of Glory. Like, we're not going to do solo albums. We're not going to do Richie Sambora's solo album, as good as that actually is. But we're not going to do that stuff. So just the band.
Okay.
So Bon Jovi.
No doubt Bon Jovi's all over the place.
I like Bob Jovi, right? The TwoBobsCast. Bob Jovi is all over the place.
I miss that. Bob Jovi.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, they have a lot of albums though. So and a lot of it's going to be tough because the second half of the catalog is there's some hits, but there's a lot of misses in there, man.
Yeah.
I could talk about the first half for a long time. The second half, woo.
Yeah.
It's rough. So
yeah, we would have to do that in one. I feel like we can't split that up. That's too much of a disparity, I feel like.
Because the second half would be like, why bother even listening to this? Like, there's maybe one really good album in the second half, and that might be about it.
Maybe. So, all right. Well, we'll talk about that. We'll decide what we're gonna do from there. But Bon Jovi does turn into it's some kind of, I don't know, that I just keep thinking of, that one song I think is like a country song, and I don't know that means he did a whole album, but Who Said You Can't Go Back song, that to me that seems country.
Who says you can't go home?
Yeah, go home.
Whatever.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, but we'll dig into it a little more, and we'll see.
All right.
So either next week or 2 weeks, but they're big enough. We're gonna. They do still have a lot of listeners. They're still pretty big. So
of course, yeah. No, I look forward to listening to the earlier records again. My dad had a bunch of the earlier ones, and they were really good.
Yeah, I was a huge fan of theirs for a long time there. So 80s, early 90s, mid 90s even. So but it dropped off hard. So I think you're right. We'll do one podcast probably in 2 weeks. We won't spend as much time on those albums. We'll talk more about the
good ones.
The first half. And then, if I can get through it quickly enough, I'm going away for a couple days here tomorrow and Thursday. I'll be back Friday. So I have a couple days off work. So we'll see how much I can get done with them. And then I'm not sure who we're doing for C. I can't remember. The schedule's done till like mid 26, till like May of 2026, like into our third season. I already have the schedule done, so I just
gotta have the content ready.
Yeah. I liked that we have it lined up, and I can just look it up and okay, that's who we're going with, and I just know Bon Jovi's next. So
okay, all right, very good. Well, thanks again, our buddy Brian S., John Novak. We appreciate you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. Don't forget the Disorderly.
Oh, that's I'm gonna spoil it here, but you're seeing the movie Disorderly? Like,
I have no clue what that is.
The Fat Boys? Was it the Fat Boys? The movie Disorderlies. There's a song in there, a Bon Jovi song on that soundtrack. It's probably their best song, and John and I agree. It probably is their best song overall. It was written, I believe, it's probably a late '80s movie. It was written, I believe, during the Slippery When Wet writing sessions. It's a great song. We'll talk about it. I will definitely bring it up. It's probably my favorite Yeah, Fat Boys. It's probably my favorite Bon Jovi song. It's not even on one of their albums, so you better believe I'll be talking about that. So,
All right. Very good.
That's all I got, though.
All right.
I'm
Thanks
sad
again.
to see Bullet from my Valentine go because, man, it was a lot of fun listening to that. So, I mean, it was a little bit critical here and there, but man,
No, for sure.
there's
No,
some
when they hit,
great stuff in there.
Yeah,
God.
when they hit, there's no better.
Right. That's what I was saying. Like, man, I'm like when I was really into them, like I liked them more than everybody. I was like, this is so up my alley. I love everything I love about like hard rock and metal music was in there. Everything was in there. The hooks, like the songs I couldn't get out of my head, the guitar harmonies, the solos, like we talked about. It was just so good for a while there. Oh, I couldn't get enough. Anyway, but now we're done. So
all right. Well, thank you, partner. Thank you for another great episode. Thanks all our buddies for listening.
Yep.
And we will see you in the next one.
Rock on!
Looks like you've been missing a lot of work lately.
I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob.
What would you say you do here?
God damn it. Bob, we love playing here tonight. My brother's ready.
It helps if you think of it as a game, Bob. Every game has a winner and a loser.
You must possess strength to inflict pain, Bob.